I think until we get to that point when we start creating meaningful businesses and that people are dependent on us, we won't get that respect.
Be aware of the competition. Be aware, do your research, but don't focus in on heavily that. Focus on you, your brand, your customer. Understand your customer needs.
You have the Korean-owned beauty supply stores. You know, they can be in competition with each other, but they all still in business, they all operate, and they obviously are doing very well because they're all still open. And guess what? They selling to us.
If you look at all the beauty supply products, there's black people on all the products, but majority of them aren't owned by us.
They market to us to catch our attention, but what's frustrating to me is how can a male Caucasian tell me about my hair care needs and tell me what I need to use on my hair? So that was my goal, was to not only make good products, but to also show that, you know, I'm the face of my brand and, you know, I am an African-American woman, so I understand your struggles. You know, I can relate to your problems because we have the same problem. And that was the vision behind creating Mielle Organics, was to create natural and organic products that were affordable, but also work for our hair type and as well as healthy for us if absorbed in our bloodstream.
So within 2 years, we've been able to accomplish quite a bit. We've generated well over 8 million consumers around the world globally that shop with us today. We are now in just about 3,000 Sally stores around the country. We just entered Target, and basically we're going to be in hundreds of their stores around the country, right? So that's Sally, Target, etc. We've been blessed to employ 15 full-time employees. We're employing within our community and showing and encouraging them certain things.
I had no business experience, so I had to learn everything myself.
We haven't done nothing great, because what we're doing, you, and everyone else can do. Think about this.
When I first started this business, I didn't start this business chasing money. I was chasing a vision of, you know, becoming an entrepreneur and becoming an entrepreneur to inspire other African-American women as well.
Our mindset isn't about the money. The money gonna be there. We don't chase the money. We wanna make a difference. Entrepreneurship is possible. That dream that you have is possible. You're one idea away from something great. Just think about that.
Sadly, white people have been programmed in several ways because of the dirty deed that we did and because of all the propaganda that was created, the dirty deed being slavery and genocide toward indigenous people. But I think because of these dirty deeds, even after slavery ended, white America's greatest fear was black retribution, that somehow white people, you know, the bully is going to be paid back for what they did to the slaves. So white people operate a lot out of fear. So when white people see a person of color, whether it's in the street, walking, or walking through their neighborhood, or walking close to their car, or passing by them in the street, or if they see Black Lives Matter simply standing up for their rights and protesting, a lot of white people are scared. They're very scared, they're very fearful. In a way, they're cowards. Because they don't want to live in reality, they don't want to think about why these people are angry, and they don't want to think about why they're scared. So there's this irrational fear that white people, and especially the police, operate out of. And that all goes back to white supremacy, it goes back to the way we've been programmed historically, and it goes back to the fear of karma and the fear of black retribution, but yet black people are not in a position to kill white America because they just don't have the numbers, and also they don't have the intent. They've never demonstrated that. What black people want, if you ask me, is they want justice.
Justice is supposed to be the result of correct law. But so far, no laws have produced justice. So you don't have justice anywhere on the planet. And mostly that's because of what? The law of white supremacy.
You know, our system is supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but let's be real, it's not. You are guilty until you are proven innocent. Black men are locked up, they are thrown away, the keys tossed more than any other race.
Well, let me give it to you this way. When you look at the incarceration population across the United States of America is 51% African American. Ask me how many Asian Americans are in prison. Not many of them. You know why? because they own businesses and they have resources and assets that ensures that they can breed out to their communities, that they don't need to have to go that route because they have help, they have assistance.
You have blatantly racist people in the judicial system. Sometimes I come across prosecutors who will give me one deal for one client who's white and another deal for another client who's black. And I started looking back and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. They have virtually the same record or no record. They have no difference in their background or what they're doing, ages, anything like that, except for the fact that one is black and one is white. And it blew my mind.
Judge Ola Stevens, had some issues because he was speaking up against the use of all-white juries to convict black defendants. I saw black people stepping up to support him. The system really broke him down. They made him apologize like a little boy in front of everybody and apologize for things he didn't do wrong, and it really bothered me. And there were people that stepped up in the community and said, how can we raise money for him? How can we at least tell his story, etc. And I thought that was really admirable. But then at the same time, the challenge with that is, on one hand, you're sort of conflicted because on one hand, you want him to be in the system because he's still going to be a judge, and we have brothers that are still going to go in front of the court system. But on the other hand, you're thinking, well, why is he so heavily dependent upon this system? Like, why couldn't he have just gone in there and told those people to kiss his ass and speak the truth? A lot of us are forced to represent a lie because we're afraid of the punishment and the consequences of telling the truth.
You know what? That's the problem with the system. That's why we can't change, because people don't want to ruffle feathers. People don't want to get in somebody else's face and call them out on what they're doing. So I'm not going to live my life like that. I'm going to go in and ruffle feathers, because if that's what I need to do to make a change, then that's what I need to do. I think as attorneys, we have a responsibility to try and help this situation that's going on in our country. But you also have to take responsibility yourself. Because one of the most frustrating things as a criminal defense attorney with a client who is black is to sit out in our jury pool and in walks 50 people.